Hello, welcome to the Global Church Project. I'm Graham Hill. Francisco is the CEO of Tack and Gybe Associates and also of CRYPTALGO. His expertise is in capital markets, business strategy and development, and helping businesses and humanitarian organisations develop financial resources. His company has run successful experiments in Asia and Latin America, helping humanitarian organisations face and meet their financial, organisational and strategic challenges. Francisco, welcome to the Global Church Project. Your expertise is in capital markets, business development, and also helping humanitarian organisations develop financial resources. What was your journey into this kind of world?
This was actually an incredible journey. Who started actually in Switzerland back about 20 years ago by meeting a very nice lady in her 80s in a plane sitting next to me from Zurich to Chicago. And we kept in contact for many, many years until she introduced me to her son-in-law, who is a person based in Zurich for Tier Funds, an organization that does a very, very strong work across the world. And he asked me, we had a conversation about it, because I've been always interested to see how using my expertise, my professional life knowledge, how can this be translated into NGOs who have a need for that expertise, in whether it be in organization, in management, in accounting, in fundraising, which is one of the biggest topics here at this conference in Manila. So for me, it was very important to see, well, maybe I can do something here. Maybe I can help those organizations to become more efficient in their operation. And that's the way it started. And since then, it's been a very beautiful ride, I must say.
What do you love most about this kind of work?
One of the things that really shocked me, I must say, but in a positive way, is the thirst for knowledge, the need for people to know, people who have not been privileged to go to school or to have degrees or to have masters, and who are doing absolutely incredible jobs in the field, helping children, education, orphans, you name it. And these people do an incredible job on the field without any expertise of how to build the businesses. And the thirst that they have in desiring to know how to become better, how to become more efficient in their work, has been to me shocking in a very positive way. And this is where this is why this is so enriching for a person with my background, who comes from a world that is very, very different to what these people know.
And what do you see as some of the financial challenges that face humanitarian organisations today?
The biggest challenge that people have is definitely the fundraising side. But the fundraising is a big name, but also it requires a little bit more of detail. And the detail here is that organizations have a tendency not to address fundraising maybe in the most efficient way, from an organizational standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, which puts them into a weakness of being always in demand when they could become a product that will be attracted to a customer, and that customer being an institution that will be interested to participate in those projects. I think that the link between what NGOs do and how they do fundraising definitely has areas of improvements that can be done.
And do you think the challenges are the same for humanitarian organisations as for other NGOs, or are they a bit different?
I think the structure and the challenges found by NGOs in their own field of expertise are very similar to a corporation, are very, very similar. Management structure, corporate governance, strategy, sales, planning, marketing, fundraising, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and you can see that for every single one of those topics, NGOs have an issue with it, or they have an interest to develop that field. And that's where improvements are required for them to become more efficient in their day-to-day work.
And the issue around the challenges of funding, are those connected with issues to do with business strategy? So is there a connection between all of these things, and what do you see as the connections?
As I was saying today in my presentation, the NGO, the aim and the work done by the NGO, if we take an example for children education, for instance, in some less favored countries, it's a product. If you look at what they do and how they do it, and the amount of efforts that they go through it to be efficient, it's just incredible. But in order for them to have financing facilities coming to them, it's extremely difficult for them to translate what they do in a product that is interesting for the company, or for an institution, or for a foundation, or individuals, for that matter. But they have exactly the same problem. They have the same issues. They have to present it, and very often the people might not have the preparation. They might not have the skills. They might not have the sales skills. They might not have the strategic skills to say, this is a way I can position my activity, and this is where I can raise money for my organization. And
what sort of support does your organisation offer humanitarian organisations with these challenges?
Personally, I do this work totally from a benevolent aspect. I consider this to be a donation. I believe that it's important if we can help in one way, form, or shape. Checkbooks are not always the answer. I think that there is a lot we can contribute, and that has extremely a lot of value on the field, on the ground, because you can see that the people coming from those different NGOs are quick learners. They understand very, very quickly how they can benefit from it and how they can apply it in their own environment, whether it's being Asia, Europe, Africa, or anywhere around the world. So it has, personally, I think that it's a contribution, and I see this as a very, very positive way to help.
And where else do you think that humanitarian organisations can go to get support with business development and financial development? Where can they actually go for support in these areas?
It's a very tricky question, because you have to see that all those NGOs, for instance, have geographical limitations. Some of them are in Africa, some of them are in East Africa, West Africa, Latin America, Andes, you name it. And not necessarily the funding, the real funding, will be coming to them through international networks, right? So, and this is an exercise we did yesterday, is to see how maybe you are sitting next to your own companies who have a strong interest or will be very interested to participate in some of those programs without going international. So their natural limitation makes them to think really differently of how they can approach those institutions, those companies or those foundations to raise money, because they're limited in their tools, and of course, they cannot fly around the world and raise money all day long. So they definitely have to bring the problem back to where they are located and how they can, around the areas where they are developing, benefit from those rich, if I may say, entities.
I think for many of us who are involved in this field, we feel like we know how to tell our stories to individuals and to churches even. but we don't really know how to tell that story in a way that grabs the attention of an investor or grabs the attention of a business person who could be a natural ally. Do you think it's a different set of skills to communicate in that environment, or is it the same set of skills? What's your sense?
Human nature has been, we are naturally sales people. We sell all the time. We sell whether happiness, products, wine, or we always sell something. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that there is any difference in the methods that we can have. The problem is that is different is that because, if I may quote, the product, the NGO work, which I call a product, has to be created from a marketing standpoint in a different manner than you will sell a candy or you will sell a holiday package, etc. And because of that, the nature, the specific, and the very, very specialized human aspect of that product that the NGO tries to address, you have to adapt this with a different message. And this is the construction of that message to institutions that is the most difficult part of the equation to put in place. And if you do that right, institutions will come to you, because institutions now are becoming socially responsible investors. Everything that has an SRI investment or UNPRI investments are well received by shareholders. So obviously that message, the construction of that message is, and we have seen this in various examples, and we've done this in Bangladesh, we've done this in Peru, and even here in Manila, where the construction of that message has been the piece that we have been building, working the hardest.
What do you most hope to contribute to the lives of NGO leaders and to their ministries during your involvement with MICA?
So far, the reception has been absolutely incredible. I was actually requested over 55 times to send emails about my presentation, and people from Africa, putting together some ideas about how they can put this in place. For me, the most interesting thing that I've seen is the necessity and the lack of expertise that is there, and the need for people to start structuring those different approaches of how they can package, structure, and sell in a certain way their NGO services. So this has been very, very touching, if I may say, because by coming at this event here with MICA has been very, very enriching for me to see the reception of these people, literally coming from around the world. I mean, it's an incredible group that has been present and that is present, and seeing the reception has been absolutely mind-blowing.
So you presented at the MICA Global Consultation, and I wonder whether you could give us a bit of a summary of the key things that you presented on in that presentation.
Basically, the presentation was structured in different pillars, and the work that was actually presented is a combination of different skills. Okay, the first thing is the skill of selling a product. How do you sell a product? A lot of people in the NGOs are reserved people, and might not have been exposed to pure sales techniques. So the first part of the discussions was, what do we do in sales techniques? What are the things that you should be aware? What are the things you should be doing? And what are the things you shouldn't be doing? So it's actually basically putting together, structuring that approach. The second pillar was mainly to discuss about the packaging, the message. How do we work on the message? And that was a very big portion where discussion came, where depending on the work, the initial work and the fundamental work done by that specific NGO can be translated into a product we're going to sell. And then the third pillar is more looking at specific cases where we looked at crowdfunding techniques. We look at the new technology that is coming up in the market now in terms of B2C and even B2B offerings. New techniques using Twitter, internet, social media, where fundraising is actually coming up, pretty strongly. So we covered through those three aspects. We covered the basic problematic that we had, given the time that was given to me.
Is there anything else that you want to say to us today?
I would say that, I'm absolutely amazed by the work that Micah does. I've been very surprised about the organization, about caring about all of us in our own way, having Cheryl, being up at 1 o'clock in the morning waiting for me because I was one of the last ones arriving and I didn't even have a room, and she was worried about, taking care of me. And the way she has been taking care of me she has been taking care of every single participant, and we're talking about hundreds of people here. The way the organization is, the motivation and the spirit behind helping underprivileged people is actually just amazing. And this has to me is a very, very big plus that I extract from this, and I hope to get more involved with Micah in the future to give more help.
Francisco, thank you for joining us at the Global Church Project.
My pleasure.
The Global Church Project is located at www.theglobalchurchproject.com. On our website, you'll find a wide range of interviews and resources for colleges, universities, and churches. I look forward to your company next time. From me, goodbye.